Ready?
Yeah.
Rolling! Number 4, take 1.
José Rizal, writer, doctor, patriot, lover, scholar, national hero of the Philippines. We know his name. We were required to read his books to learn about his life. But the life that we know of comes from textbooks. As we celebrate the Philippine centennial, GMA Films takes off Rizal's overcoat, pushes him off his pedestal, and makes him come alive.
Ready for take!
Energy, enjoy the sequence, please.
Rolling, take 2.
Action!
Right! Out yung mga...
The production of Rizal follows from a commitment made by GMA Network Inc. to the National Centennial Commission through our President and CEO, Mr. Menardo Jimenez, to produce a film for the Centennial, specifically with the national hero as the subject matter. If anything, we're privileged to have been given the assignment by the network to deliver the film, and well, here we are.
That's why we're doing it, so that we can fuel the fire of nationalism in our country. And I think the best way to spark that is through our national hero, which is José Rizal.
So you're taking the relatively tight?
Yes, the tight ones.
Jimmy Duavit and Butch Jimenez are second-generation showbiz producers. Together, they frontline GMA Films. Rizal is their biggest and most ambitious film to date.
We are really talking about trying to break into the international market, trying to make the international film community see that there is a wealth of creativity here in our country.
You know, we're besieged with very, very well-made and highly budgeted foreign films, and somehow this has created comparisons. We're hoping that after seeing this particular film, the Filipino can walk out understanding our national hero better, being a lot prouder being Filipino, and believing that, hey, we can do good and fine film.
To do this, GMA Films assembled some of the finest talents from the worlds of film, theater, and advertising.
Hey, clear, set!
Para klaro dito.
Magnanakaw! Yes! Action!
That way, cut!
Appointed commander-in-chief of this entire operation was critically acclaimed director Marilou Diaz-Abaya.
When I accepted the project, I was very excited, not so much because I could film the universally known and universally accepted quote-unquote facts about José Rizal. Film requires that the spectators are emotionally rather than intellectually engaged. It is very important that my audience make an emotional connection. I want them to, if possible, fall in love with the subject, with José Rizal.
At higit sa lahat, ipinagdarasal ko ang kaligayahan ng mga magulang na hindi nakadarama ng pagmamahal ng kanilang mga anak. Nasa malalayong lugar, nagsasakripisyo para sa kapakanan ng lahat na matamis na konsolasyon na kapos sa bukang liwayway ng buhay.
Mabuhay!
Mabuhay!
When I was first offered the assignment and I took my time thinking about it, I was very aware and also very displeased with the tendency for whatever creative artists, for example, who say, let's do a José Rizal and show that he is a human being. I wasn't interested in that primarily. First of all, I wanted to say that he was not an ordinary human being, he was an extraordinary human being. As you're coming in like that, sige, yeah, pahalik nga. That's it. Tapos, tight. Okay, now, see, don't right away. It's difficult to, you know, to have in one expressive or creative work to give a picture of what he was as a son, a brother, you know, a lover, an artist, a patriot, a scientist, a philologist, speaking 22, you know, languages.
The research was continuous. Actually, mas madugo yung discussions.
Nombre y apellidos.
No sé si lo conozco, coronel.
To narrow down the events of Rizal's life for the big screen, Direk Marilou collaborated with a team of Ricky Lee, June Lana, and Peter Ong Lim on the screenplay.
It was a very sad life. Very sad. Nawalan ka ng pamilya, nawalan ka ng girlfriend, and eventually namatay ka at a very young age. So that became for us an entry point. The artist, the writer, the malungkot na buhay.
The film begins with Rizal's arrest upon his second return to Manila and follows him through his trial and execution. Between these, Rizal remembers his life and his writing.
Lumayo kayo! Lumayo kayo! Kung ayaw ninyong madamay! Ang paring ito ay malugod na tinanggap ng aking ama sa kanyang tahanan na pinakain at itinuring na kaibigan. Ano ang iginanti nito? Siniraan nito ang aking ama. Ginamit nito lahat ng kapangyarihan upang ang aking ama ay makulong. Hindi nagtagal siya ay namatay sa kulungan. Hindi pa ito nakontento sa ganun. Pinahukay pa nito ang bangkay ng aking ama sa sementeryo at itinapon sa ilog. Sinong anak ang hindi magagalit? Ganito ba magmahal ang simbahan? Ang dapat tayo'y mamatay!
Gusto mo, wag! Maawa ka.
José Rizal as writer and artist is a focal point in the film. Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, his two great novels, were social commentaries that debated the merits of independence and the state of Filipino nationhood.
Hindi magagamot ng kasamaan ang kapwa-kasamaan.
Anong makagagamot? Mga binitadong tubig na binayaran natin sa mga praile?
Mga indulhensya? Ang kailangan natin ay pag-aalsa.
Hindi pa handa mga tao. Maghintay pa tayo.
Kailan ka magiging handa? Kapag ikaw na mismo ang hinulit inapi, nabubulagang ka na, Senyor Ibarra. Unti-unti nang nagigising ang mga tao. Ginigising sila ng mga suntok at sipa, saksak at tama ng baril. Hindi na sapat sa kanila ang matutulang. Hahawak na sila ng armas, armas na nakamamatay.
The reason he became extra sensitive to social and political issues was, first of all, because he had the sensitivity of an artist who first recognizes the human condition of his family and of his community, and will therefore, because he is an artist, respond to it with more sensitivity and passion than an ordinary politician would. From the first time that the producers discussed the offer to me, I had one actor in mind, and that was Cesar Montano.
umpisang sinabi sa akin yan, gagawin ko yung Rizal, na naguluhan muna ako. Sandali, bakit ako? Bakit?
Ba't nga ikaw?
Oo, action ako nambabaril ako sa pelikula Tumatambling ako, tumatalon ako sa building biglang magiging Rizal ako. Sandali, ano ba to?
Babarilin.
Parang biro, ano ba to? Joke ba to? Ano?
Cesar took 3 months, 3.5 months before the first shooting day to work with me on an entire syllabus which I prepared, covering history, politics, poetry, penmanship or forgery, as I call it, no? Fencing, languages, in particular Spanish.
José Rizal. Rizal.
Pinagsalita nila ako ng Spanish dito na 2 pages na kailangan sabihin ko ng matino at magaling na Espanyol dahil si Rizal, nung nagsasalita siya ng Espanyol, sobresaliente siya, excellent siya sa Spanish.
So kailangan sobresaliente ka rin.
Ganun din ako
Correos. Aeropuerto.
To get him sounding like a true blue ilustrado, Cesar was coached by Cuban-born teacher Alexis Santaren from the Instituto Cervantes. His task was to make sure that Cesar's diction and accent were muy excelente.
At the time, Spaniards in the Philippines spoke to each other in Spanish. And they always indicated their prejudice to lower classes of people by refusing to speak to them in Spanish, rather to speak to them in broken Tagalog. But in this case, you will see that even some of the officials gave Rizal the respect of protocol to address him in Spanish.
¿Conoces a Bonifacio, el fundador de Katipunan?
No sé si lo conozco, coronel.
¿Acaso no lo conociste en una reunión secreta en casa de Doroteo Onjunco?
Aquella reunión no era secreta, coronel. Si hubiera sido secreta, ¿cómo es que usted lo sabe ahora?
Action!
Joel Torre plays Rizal's alter egos, Crisostomo Ibarra from the Noli Me Tangere, and he also plays Simon from the El Filibusterismo.
Senyor Ibarra.
Simon, ikaw si Basilio.
Matagal po kayong nawala. Hindi niyo na po alam ang mga nangyari dito sa ating bansa. Meron na pong mga kilusan. At nagsisimula na po silang
Kayong mga kabataan, nananaginip pa rin kayo. Humihingi kayo sa Espanya ng pantay na karapatan. Pero ang hinihingi ninyo ay kadena. Gusto ninyo maging mga Kastila din kayo. Pero hindi niyo nakikita na ang pinapatay ninyo ay ang inyong pagkabansa. Ano ang inyong magiging kinabukasan? Isang bansang walang pagkatao at kalayaan? Ang lahat sa inyo ay hiniram. Pati na ang inyong mga depekto. Mamamatay kayo bago pa man dumating ang inyong kamatayan.
I love both novels, so I like the characters, the contrast, and the change from the idealism to the cynicism. So it's a full range. It's a roller coaster of emotions, and all the ideas are really said in these scenes.
Joel, who was born exactly 100 years after Rizal, says it's an honor for him to be part of the movie.
I was born the same day as Rizal. Actually, my real name is José Rizalino, named after Rizal. Diba, he was born June 19, 1861. I'm 1961.
Soy Luis Fabián.
mucho gusto. José Rizal.
Ya lo conozco.
Tenga la bondad de sentarse.
Jaime Fabregas plays the role of Luis Taviel de Andrade, Rizal's trial lawyer.
The guy was a greenhorn. I mean, he wasn't really a lawyer per se, you know, in that effect. He was a Spanish officer. He knew very little of the law. So, yun, and then they became very close friends during the course of those 2 weeks before the trial.
Para sa'yo. Para hindi mo ako makalimutan.
Salamat. Ibigay mo na lang sa pamilya mo. Sobrang-sobra na ang alaalang dadaling ko mula sa'yo.
Mga gahamang praile, mga sakim na opisyalis, sila ang naghahari sa ating bayan. Tutulog mo tayo sa Espanya. Paano? Bingi at bulag ang Espanya. Hindi niya naririnig ang ating mga daing. Hindi niya nakikita ang ating mga pagdurusa.
The film also touches on the influence of Rizal's work on society and on one man in particular, Andres Bonifacio, Supremo of the Katipunan, played by Gardo Versosa.
Mabuhay si Dr. José Rizal!
Cut! Okay, it's perfect.
Sabay tayo!
Rolling number 3, take 1.
Nagtrato tayong parang pinakmababang hayop. Alam kong marami sa inyong natatakot.
Bonifacio is portrayed as the perfect foil to Rizal.
Masyado siyang impulsive. Masyado siyang, gusto niya bakbakan na palagi. Wala nang diplomasya, gano'n.
Sabi ni Aguinaldo, kaya ka natatalo sa mga battles because bobo ka sa military strategy. Ang interpretation ko hindi. Natatalo ka kasi sinasabihan mo ng emosyon.
Siya nag-uudyok sa lahat ng mga kapatid.
Ilang linggo lang tayo hindi nakita eh. Nagkaroon na ng bulaklak yung dila mo. Baka naman, kung sino-sinong babaeng pinariringgan mo na matatamis mong salita habang wala ako.
Ikaw lamang, wala nang iba. Baka naman, ikaw ang maraming nakikilala.
The movie Rizal is more than just politics and social commentary. The women in his life show us a more familiar Rizal.
Pinsan? Pahalik niya. Sige mo.
Baka makita tayo ng tatay.
Isa lang.
Rizal's first love, Leonor Rivera, is played by Mickey Ferriols. Gloria Diaz plays his mother, Teodora Alonzo. The Hong Kong-born Josephine Bracken, whom Rizal married while in Dapitan, is played by Chinchin Gutierrez, and Monique Wilson essays the role of Maria Clara, Rizal's heroine in the novel Noli Me Tangere. The rest of the cast is a who's who of showbiz most respected names.
Okay, then he moves. There's another.
Mabero.
Action.
The Spice Girls!
Mabuhay.
Hijos de este país, sobre el que España ha derramado inmensos tesoros.
At around 80 million pesos, Rizal is the biggest and most expensive Filipino-produced film to date.
From the point of view of a local filmmaker, you know, in terms of the size, you're talking about 10 times more comparing it to a regular local picture, no?
Principal photography on Rizal cost GMA Films 60 million pesos.
There has been an extreme amount of prudence exercised by all departments.
They first ask the value of each sequence, of each scene, and if they find that your cost justifies the value of the sequence, then no questions asked. They sign what they have to sign.
We feel very strongly that what is spent is definitely spent very well.
Since the film is a period piece, Rizal's art department went to great lengths to make sure that the look and feel of the film was a virtual trip into the late 19th century.
Take one.
Action!
Action, tama.
Ikaw, hindi mo kinita ng kalabaw nating kagabi.
Part of the core objective is to convey not only to the Filipinos, our countrymen, but hopefully, if we're lucky, to the rest of the world, to show with a great degree of accuracy exactly what our heritage and history is comprised of.
Mabuhay ang Pilipinas! Mabuhay!
Okay, yeah, let's do it for the country, for our art, and for generations to come, so that they would see the right makeup, the right costumes, the right ambience of a period film.
Mabuhay si Dr. José Rizal! Mabuhay!
The art department's obsession with authenticity shows itself in the finer details of the film. For instance, a special permit was needed from the central bank to mint the silver and gold coins used in the film. These coins were used in 4 sequences and cost over 100,000 pesos to reproduce. And in the process, something unfortunate happened to one of the suppliers.
Actually, meron ako isang supplier na I gave him my coin, which I got from the antique shop then I tried to have him reproduced. In the process, nung ginagawa niya while doing the molds, nahuli daw sila ng pulis ng Malabon or something.
Documents used in the film were as close to the originals as possible.
All the words na sinusulat ko has to be really exact. Even the papers were researched, what kind of papers, the distance from one to another, and ano pa ba, yung sizes niya, yung mga ganon, yung manuscript, yung details ng manuscript.
The excellent craftsmanship and painstaking attention given to the hand props did not go unnoticed. In fact, Direct Marilou Diaz-Abaya gave them special attention.
Ang dami niyang macro shots dahil nakita naman niya yung props namin na very well executed.
Very thorough.
The details on the costumes, even if they were only for bit players, were exquisite.
Wearing the costume now makes me feel like I've gone back like 100 years. I think to myself, God, the women must have felt so restricted at that time, physically restricted. Visually, these are the most beautiful fabrics and so exotic and so feminine, so pretty, but how they must have behaved in real life, I don't know. I'm still trying to understand that.
It's a pure Abaca daily housewear dress.
This one?
Blouse.
Okay.
But as you can see, we really have aged them for cinematic effects by using aging techniques like airbrush, tinting.
Really? How interesting.
These are all hand done.
Hand done? Saan?
Iba-iba na. We have their iba-iba ng sourcing yan because it's limited now.
Over 1,000 sets of costumes were made for the principal characters of the film. Hats and other accessories were purchased in Italy and Hong Kong and reproduced by the wardrobe department. What's interesting about the costumes is that each piece has a story to tell. Female clothing, for example, revealed a lot about one's character.
It has more to do with your upbringing, actually. Yeah, there was a certain style that denotes certain, class, like the fabrics. The topic should be as lightweight as your skirt. For example, I'm a woman, I see you. It's like I know your class. I know how you can spend. I know who your parents are and the capacity of spending. That's it. You'll see this all in the film.
To fit the requirements of the director, makeup was also purchased abroad.
Our director, Marilou Diaz-Abaya, specifically asked us to have the actors really look natural. The makeup would look natural, so she wants the pores to be seen, and it's not a painted face that she wants. She wants a totally sheer and really transparent kind of makeup.
For the art department, the scene that cost that most number of sleepless nights was the Malacanang Ball.
It's hard to do an interior where you have like 80 to 90 people all at the same time with a steady cam there.
Want to explain what's happening? Today is the 25th of December, it's Christmas. We are in one of the halls of Malacanang, which at the time was already at a state of siege.
Shot in the old Pasig Capitolio, preparing for the scene was like throwing a real ball. Everything had to be grand.
So what we are doing tonight is really very immoral and very obscene.
Costumes and makeup were a lavish showcase befitting the creme de la creme of Philippine society then.
We've come from our homes very, very nervous that we could get kidnapped, that our jewels could get snatched from our bodies and our heads cut. But we've come here anyway because this is probably the last time Malacanang will see anything like this.
In the final edit, the Malacanang Ball would be on screen for a total of 3 minutes and 10 seconds. But it serves as the backdrop for the confrontation between the Archbishop of Manila and Rizal's lawyer.
Señor Javier.
Buenas noches, señor.
Buenas.
Ah, si aquí tenemos al gran defensor del enemigo número 1 de España. Bueno, allá tú. A lo mejor a ti también te acusan de traicionar a España.
Yo no soy un traidor. Yo solamente cumplo con mi deber. Defender a los inocentes.
¿Qué has dicho?
Con su permiso, Su Eminencia. Buenas noches.
Quizás este puede ser un obstáculo. No puede hacer nada.
Manila in the 20th century is a far cry from Manila during the time of Rizal. But thanks to the magic of special effects, we don't even have to suspend this belief. Consider Intramuros.
Well, basically, we're just taking away the golf course, try to take away the taller buildings beyond the perimeters of Intramuros, which wasn't there at that time. We were asked to help out reconstruct mainly the non-existent buildings within the Intramuros area.
But more than making wires, antennas, and nearby buildings disappear, high-tech computers are able to create some of the sets themselves.
We employed the same technique that they used in Titanic. No? They generated images from nothing.
This is the Ateneo de Manila, circa 1872.
I was quite taken by surprise because the real test kasi of special effects is you will never notice that it is a special effect. You really think that it's live, no?
Special effects savvy is particularly evident in the famous moth story. Here, the movements of the young Rizal, played by Dominic Gintu, are carefully planned and rehearsed.
Lumipad, lumipad sa paligid ng apoy. Palapit ng palapit, anak, papalapit ng papalapit ng papalapit hanggang sa magliyab.
The moth is added in post-production and manipulated to match the young Rizal's eye movements.
At tuluyan siyang mamatay.
The camera will have a clearance before you enter. Bow! Lakad, kalabaw! Mga bata, lakad!
And on the shooting front, Direct Marilou Diaz-Abaya and her generals worked like mad to put Rizal in the can.
Forward sometimes, okay? Forward and back. Cut, very good.
Ang feeling ko ba, laging big scene yung ginagawa ko. Ang feeling ko ba, walang maliit na eksena sa Rizal.
This was probably because the directorial team was well-versed in Rizaliana.
Alam mo ba na kami ay required ng reading from Noli Me Tangere to El Filibusterismo and all reading materials at every Friday para kaming may test at may exam with Direct Marilou.
Everybody gets his own book about Rizal. Everybody goes on his own way to go to libraries to research on Rizal. And then, yeah, that's true. Every Friday we meet and, you know, we discuss things about Rizal and patalbugan kami ng nalalaman about Rizal.
Rizal will also be the first Filipino film released in Dolby Digital. Because the film uses live sound, a good take means top quality visuals and audio.
Hindi niya tinipid yung film. Hindi katulad ng iba na tama na, good na ako sa visual, bahala na yung sounds. No, here. Before he declared good takes, he asked the cinematographer, tapos then after that, he asked me. If I said good, that's it.
On the visual side, the challenge to cinematographer Rodi Lakap was how to shoot the different periods in Rizal's life.
Kasi may halos tatlong episode. We have the Pili, the book.
Si Crisostomo Ibarra.
Senyor Ibarra.
Simon.
The flashback.
Kapag hindi mo ako pinahalik, baka tuluyan na akong hindi gumaling.
Rizal sa jail.
Hindi ba lagi daw kayong pinapahamak ng mga sinusulat nyo?
Dahil sa mga praile, oo.
Eh yun pala eh. Bakit di kayo tumigil? Gusto nyo bang ganito? Lagi kayo nakakulong?
Iba-ibang era o iba-ibang years, iba-ibang quality ng lighting and so paano mo di-differentiate?
Direct Roddy achieved this by changing filters for different time frames. The Noli and the Philly, although shot in color, would be transferred to black and white to emphasize the shift from reality to fiction.
Upang hadlangan ang mga layunin, lalo na ang pakay niyang gamitin ang edukasyon upang mamulat ang mga tao. Idadawit ng mga opisyales ang kanyang pangalan sa isang marahas na pag-aalsa.
Cut, very good.
Rolling recto. Action!
From December 9, 1997 until April 23, 1998, shooting for Rizal was underway. On some days, only 2 actors were needed. But on others, the casting slip called for hundreds. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and the cast and crew of the movie Rizal have been here since noon rehearsing this scene. Today's shoot is a flashback to August 1898. Rizal is in jail and Bonifacio is leading a skirmish against the Spaniards. For this sequence, 160 extras are equipped with blunted bolos, Mausers, and Spanish Remingtons, some of which can actually simulate gunfire. One of the high points of the movie is Rizal's execution at Magumbayan. The scene was shot here in Morong, Bataan. Finding a seaside location which resembled Luneta in 1896 was not an easy task.
Sinuwid namin yung season ng Bataan, Batangas, and half of Northern Luzon. In fact, the whole of Northern Luzon up to Ilocos Norte. Yon. Until we found yung ideal place, well, dapat ideal place doon sa Morong, Bataan.
920 extras were called in for the scene. Many of them were foreign nationals living in the Philippines.
I'm proud that it's a historical movie and I'm able to participate something in it.
I guess beginning to learn a little bit of Filipino history is beginning to learn a little bit about Filipino people.
Bawas pa ng dalawa.
History has a way of repeating itself, especially during the shooting of Rizal's execution. Photographs dictated soldiers' formation. For 4 shooting days, every little detail was planned. And on the last day, chance lent a helping hand.
In history, Rizal was shot at exactly 7:03, no? 7:03 a.m. When we were shooting the Bagumbayan sequences, when the rec shouted action, pagtingin ko sa relos ko, it was exactly 7:03, and that was eerie.
Sabi nga ni Tabiel Andrade kay Rizal, sobra-sobra na ang alaalang. May babaon natin, saan man tayo magpunta, saan man tayo magtrabaho, ano man ang susunod na proyekto. Hindi man siya maging ganito kalaki at kasagana. Palagay ko yung sense of chicken pride na tayo ay manggagawa ng pelikulang Pilipino ay hindi na muli matatanggal sa mga puso at isip natin.
To have done this film and done it well, to have given Rizal new life, these are the legacies from hundreds of men and women behind the scenes to the hundreds of thousands who will watch it on screen.
Sabi ko, pagkatapos na siguro ng 50 taon o 100 taon, isang pelikula lang matatandaan sa akin. At saka ito yon, José Rizal. Siguro ito ang dahilan kung bakit ako naging artista. At ito na rin ang, siyempre, mapapanood ng apo ko. Kaya kailangan gawin ko to. Sabi kong gano'n, itong magiging contribution ko as a person, as an actor to my country.
The short and immediate objective of the movie is to pay tribute to ourselves, to the Filipino nation, in the year of the centennial celebrations. If after that it moves you enough to make you want to buy another book that he wrote or another biography by José Rizal, or to pay better attention in class when they're talking about José Rizal, then that would have served the country's purpose, which is bigger than the movie's purpose.
Our contribution to the centennial, which is the Rizal movie.
Relax and have fun. Savor everything.
Sa sobrang ganda, nako-compare mo siya sa foreign movie.
It is a dream project.
There will only be Rizal in the centennial. There will be no other centennial. The next one, I don't think I'll be around, nor any of us.
You get that? That's Michael Jackson.
Kumbaga once in a lifetime to.
Big budget movie. It's the biggest project that I've been involved, no?
Ang sarap ng feeling.
Tapon nyo, basura nyo, itapon nyo. Yan yun eh.
Yes, but we make money.
Yeah, we will.
Well, I think it's about time.
Kunyari, nagsusuklay lang ako ng buhok na wala na naman. Ubus na naman, pero sige lang.
Masayang-masaya kasi
Tumaas yung pagkatao ko.
By the time it's shown, I'll be
Happy and proud. Yeah, very proud. Proud ako.
Totoo. Proud na proud.
very, very proud that I made this picture and that I am a Filipino. Wow.
Come, let us drink each other now.
what's it like to work on this production?
Heaven.
Nakakawinda.
Very honored.
It's an honor.
It's really an honor.
Karangalan namin mabilang to be part of it. Talaga. Maski sa pagtanda ko siguro may pagyayam ako. Masabi ng mga anak ko na kasali ako, ayun ako, hanggang ako. Siguro hanggang doon sa mga apo ko Hanggang apo siguro. Pwede ko na ipagmalaki.
Everybody's just happy and we're just one happy family.
You know, you're in good hands.
After this film, I think I'm going to read a couple of books about Rizal and learn more about him.
Definitely, it's going to be a landmark in Philippine cinema.
It's a legacy that can be left behind to many more generations to come.
Dahil tapos na ang araw ng pagkakadena. Hahawak na sila ng armas at armas na nakamamatay. Dahil tapos na,
Wow, hanep pang world class ang Rizal.
Yes, yeah.